I mean, how ridiculous can it be? This is the type of thing that America has become so sick of. They did not have to do this, but the fact that they felt that they had to do this is disturbing.
Mike Murphy.
Kevin, it's Mike Murphy. I agree with your point completely in so much as the scary thing is they actually thought that someone was going to tune away from this game or not watch this game because of who the person announcing the game was. I think that really speaks to a problem within ESPN, that they're trying to decipher who their viewers are, and they think that maybe their viewers will be turned off by the fact that a gentleman is named, happens to have the same name as someone from 100+ years ago.
Well, I think it's worse than that, though, Robert, honestly, because what it shows is that, you know, it's no longer just the concept of this in sports. This is the type of thing that permeates all of business. These are the types of things that corporate leaders are being forced to look at, because we now have a snowflake society that wants to look at these things through this prism of political correctness. This is probably one of the most ridiculous things that's happened in sports. And the irony of it is, it's an Asian man. It's not even a white man, which adds a whole other layer of complexity to this particular question.
But this is, where does this stop, though? Kevin, that's what I don't understand, because is somebody of such weak constitution that they would actually be offended by this? This is what people are, because until you stop, and to quote the great Conor McGregor, I wish him well in his fight against Floyd Mayweather this weekend, but when he won his second belt in the ring, he said, I've offended a lot of people. I would like to apologize to nobody. That's why President Trump is resonating with people, because it's like, I said that, I own it, and you ain't getting an apology from me for it.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. The fact, when does it end? It ends when America stops apologizing. Look, it's a funny thing, and I've talked about this on Fox before. First of all, and I'm going to take it back to some areas that are interesting in my opinion. When we look at why this occurs, it's the idea that somebody feels weakened by this. So the blacks are supposedly feeling unempowered or weakened when they see Robert E. Lee or these statues that are being torn down. And if Donald Trump doesn't speak fast enough against this so-called racism that exists in America. Look, we are the most heterogeneous country on the planet. And the blacks are successful beyond belief in this country. If you look at countries where we have racism, look at African countries where they're almost homogeneous to their one culture. But nobody ever talks about these things. So we're the only country discussing nonsense like this, where we're concerned about how blacks are doing, how Hispanics are doing, how women are doing in buckets. We should be concerned about how America is doing. And to your point, the reason why Donald Trump resonates is he thinks about this in terms of America. Not black Americans, not white Americans, not Asian Americans, but Americans.
I would have done Conor McGregor's Irish accent, since I am part Irish, but I would have been accused of being anti-Irish.
You would have been ridiculed.
Yeah, right, if I tried to actually imitate his accent. But I wanted to move on to this topic, Kevin. There's a big rally in New York planned for today at NFL headquarters in support of Colin Kaepernick. His supporters feel that he's gotten a raw deal by the league after refusing to stand during the national anthem for several games last season. What's your reaction to this?
Well, the fact that they're having a rally, and the idea is, according to the people that I've talked to about the rally, it's racist, it's race-related, that Colin Kaepernick is now being blackballed because he's a black man in the NFL. But the NFL is roughly 69% black. So I find it humorous that they would try to pull the race card, and Colin Kaepernick's being ostracized. He's being ostracized because he did a very anti-American thing, and he should be. And I hope no team picks him up. I wish him no success with respect to this rally. I don't believe it will be very successful. People don't even want to take credit for the rally. But I think America is sickened of people like Colin Kaepernick, who's been he lives in the lap of luxury, doesn't even understand the plight of the black Americans that he claims to represent as he takes his knee. I mean, he's been coddled his entire life. A half-black, half-Italian young man adopted by a white family, and his name is Kaepernick, and he wants us to believe that he's got some, you know, very strong connection with the kids that grew up like I did.
Well, to your point, boxing legend George Foreman also blasting Colin Kaepernick and Kevin Durant in a new interview. Durant recently said that he wouldn't go to the White House to celebrate the Golden State Warriors NBA title. And George Foreman telling the Offended America podcast, this is a quote, "They haven't been brought up with people who were patriotic. A lot of people died so they can have that privilege." Kevin, your thoughts on that?
Well, George Foreman nails it, and so is Charles Barkley and many others who finally speak out about this type of stuff. Look, when do we finally have black America stop taking the false narrative that America has done something wrong to us? There's no, look, slavery happened. Believe it or not, 87% of blacks were never slaves back in the 1800s, and people believed that every black in America was a slave. We were not slaves. Only 13.7% of blacks were slaves. And not only that, black people had slaves. One of the largest slave owners happened to be a black man. So when we get over this concept that slavery has done us such a disservice or whatever, look, we understand the perils of considering people chattel. But that hasn't happened to anybody. And when we get rid of this idea that blacks are being downtrodden in America and the Kaepernicks of the world are struggling, there is no struggle for us except our own internal struggle.
Kevin, good to see you. Thank you so much for weighing in on all of this. Kevin Jackson, take care of yourself.
My pleasure.